just get this. Oh, are we live? Great Scott, it must be time for the quiz. Hello there, I'm Matt. Welcome to the MovieMuse 80s movie quiz. Thanks for joining us this evening. First thing, full disclosure, this isn't actually a live video. We've pre-recorded it. There's a couple of reasons for that. Firstly, I'm likely to make a mess of some things I'm saying, so I'd rather just make sure I get it right. It also means we can put the questions, the text for the questions, across the bottom of the screen, so that if you miss anything or you're hard of hearing, then you're able to see what the questions are. And also, from some of these live quizzes that I've watched so far on YouTube and Facebook, you get problems with the audio breaking up, so hopefully we won't get that problem with it being a pre-recorded video. It does of course mean that the comments that you're making, I can't really respond to them on the video, so there's not much point asking for shout outs or anything like that because I'm not going to be giving them, but we will be monitoring the comments, so if you do want to make any comments, if you've got any questions or things that you missed, then we will answer them in the comments as we go along. Let's move on to the rules of the quiz. Firstly, I should say thank you for joining us. I hope you're all staying safe, stay inside, stay away from other people. If you're nerdy like me, that's not really a big problem anyway, so stay indoors, stay away from other people, watch your TV, play games. It's pretty much just normal life, this self-isolation thing. So hope everyone's staying safe, and let's get on with the quiz. Just get it up on the screen down here. So a bit of information about the quiz. It's going to be 30 questions in total over 5 rounds. That's 4 rounds of 5 questions each, and then we'll finish off with 10 questions for the final round. There will be a break after the first 4 rounds, so you can go and get yourself a drink or refresh yourself on any questions that you missed. So we do have a few rules, just like everyone else has had for these quizzes that are going on Facebook and YouTube during this coronavirus crisis. Basically, simple stuff. Don't look up the answers on Google or IMDb. You're only cheating yourself. There's no prizes to be won anyway, so there's really no point. Just see how well you do with your own movie knowledge and submit your quiz sheet with your answers only. And also, don't put the answers in the comments if you do know the answers, because other people might not know them. They might not want to know them at this point, so keep your answers to yourself. Also, you're putting comments on them, keep it clean, because there might be families playing with kids, so don't put any rude words in the comments, please. We're not going to be moderating the comments, so we just rely on your own common sense for that. There's no multiple choice in this quiz, so just before we start the quiz, I'll give you a few seconds just to get your stuff together, get your drinks, get your sheet up on another screen or whatever, however you're doing it. Make yourself all prepared, get your movie knowledge all ticking away in the head there. So just to mention that this is presented by MovieMuse. MovieMuse is a Facebook page and website, moviemuse.net, where we do reviews of mainly movies, but we also do some game stuff, some music stuff. We do box set reviews of movie trilogies, movie box sets. We do director profiles of big directors and review their films. And we also do the weekly Freeview Movies of the Week, where I go through the TV guide and spot any movies worth watching, give you a little review. So if you're struggling for stuff to watch while you're social distancing, then check out the Freeview Movies of the Week. We've got at least 10 to 12 movies every week that are coming up on Freeview TV channels in the UK over the next 7 days, so you should be able to find something to watch if you're really struggling and you haven't got the likes of Netflix or Now TV or Amazon Prime. So if you enjoy this quiz, then do go and give us a like on Facebook and follow MovieMuse, and we'll see. We might do more quizzes or more interesting stuff over the next few weeks, depending on how this goes. Okay, let's get on with the quiz then, and as I mentioned, it's going to be 5 rounds. That's 4 rounds of 5 questions each, and 10 questions for the final round, giving a total of 30 if you can't do the maths. And the first round we're going to do is movie quotes. So as obviously everything's going to be from the 80s, so there's 5 80s movie quotes. I'm going to read out lines from 5 80s movies. All you've got to do is name the movie that the quote came from. You can, for fun, also name the character or the actor that said it if you like. I will give those out when I give the answers tomorrow night. But the only thing you need to give us for the actual quiz, and the only thing you need to put on the Google form, is the name of the movie. So the first quote is question 1. Nice easy one to get you started. he slimed me. So question 1 is, what movie did the quote, he slimed me, come from? Okay, question 2. What movie did the quote, say hello to my little friend, come from? So once again, question 2. What movie did the quote, say hello to my little friend, come from? Okay, question 3, and this is a slightly longer quote, and the quote is, sorry folks, park's closed. Moose out front should have told you. So once again, what movie did that come from? I'll repeat the quote again. Sorry folks, park's closed. Moose out front should have told you. Okay, moving on to question 4 in this round. Once again, name the movie that this quote came from. Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes? And really, you shouldn't need me to repeat that, but I will. Question 4, snakes. Why did it have to be snakes? And the final question in this round, question 5, which movie did this quote come from? I'm not bad, I'm just drawn that way. So I'll repeat that once again. Question 5, I'm not bad, I'm just drawn that way. So hopefully that was a relatively easy start for you. There should be a few you got right. We have tried to give a few easy questions in each round, but also a couple that are a little bit more tricky to sort out the real 80s movie gurus from just the pretenders, shall we say. So we'll move on to round 2 in a second. Okay, so round 2 is all about movie connections. So there's going to be 5 questions again, and for each one I'm going to give you 3 films that I want you to name the movie personality that links them together. So it'll be 3 movies, and there'll be some actor or director or actress that was in all 3 movies or involved with all 3 movies. So the first question, question 1 in this round. Which actor starred in Return of the Jedi, Blade Runner and Witness? Again, that should be a pretty easy one for most of you, I think. Question 1. Which actor starred in Return of the Jedi, Blade Runner and Witness? Okay, moving on to question 2. Which actor appeared in The Lost Boys, Stand By Me and Friday the 13th, The Final Chapter? If you're a Friday the 13th fan, you've probably noticed this guy here. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that later on. So once again, question 2. Which actor appeared in The Lost Boys, Stand By Me and Friday the 13th, The Final Chapter? Okay, moving on to question 3. Which actress starred in 9.5 Weeks, My Stepmother is an Alien and Batman? Once again, that question, which actress starred in 9.5 Weeks, My Stepmother is an Alien and Batman? Moving on to question 4, and this time I'm looking for a director. So who directed The Goonies, Lethal Weapon and Scrooged? Once again, which director directed The Goonies, Lethal Weapon and Scrooged? And quite a few other things, it has to be said, but those are the 3 I'm particularly interested in. Okay, final question in this round, question 5. Which comedian starred in Stir Crazy, See No Evil, Hear No Evil and Superman 3? And once again, question 5 in round 2. Which comedian starred in Stir Crazy, See No Evil, Hear No Evil and Superman 3? Okay, let's move on to round 3 then, and this time we're looking at poster taglines, and a poster tagline is basically a phrase that's on a poster that advertises the film. It sometimes sums up what the film's about, sometimes it doesn't. You might make the decision yourself from these questions, I guess. So what I'm looking for again is to guess the movie name, or name the movie name, don't just guess, actually say the right one, based on the tagline that appeared on the movie poster. And we're going to show a little image from the poster as well with the tagline on it that might give you a little clue about some of them as well if you're struggling. So, the first tagline in this round, question 1. The tagline is 40 stories of sheer adventure. So once again, question 1. Which movie had the tagline 40 stories of sheer adventure? Okay, moving on to question 2. Which movie had the tagline Take Your Passion and Make It Happen? Once again, which 80s movie had the tagline Take Your Passion and Make It Happen? And if you're really struggling with that one, then you might want to try singing it. Okay, let's move on to question 3 then. Which movie had the tagline The first casualty of war is innocence? And once again, question 3. The first casualty of war is innocence. Okay, let's move on to question 4 for this round then. Which movie had the tagline One Man's Struggle to Take It Easy? Question 4 again. Which movie had the tagline One Man's Struggle to Take It Easy? And finally for this round, question 5. Which movie had the tagline Man is the warmest place to hide? And I'll repeat that once more. The final question for this round, question 5. Which movie had the tagline Man is the warmest place to hide? Okay, well, I tell you what, this quiz is moving pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around, you'll miss it. Anyway, hopefully I'm not going too fast with the questions. If I am, as I've said, it's not a live video, but you can wind it back and repeat the questions. You will have time after the quiz is finished to actually watch the video again if you need to and catch up on any of the questions. Let's move on then to the next round. And this is the final round before we'll take a short break so you can top up your drinks and review all the answers you've done so far. And the fourth round is 80s movie music. So this is going to be a music round, as you might have guessed. And we're going to play 5 clips from songs from 80s movies, and once again all you've got to do is name the movie. Now there is a possibility with this round, because I don't have the permission to play these songs, that some of these clips might get blocked. Hopefully it won't cause the video to be blocked completely. It might just mute out the audio. That's what normally happens. So if that does happen, then just to be on the safe side, we've actually put the name of the song in the comments as well. That'll appear on the screen while the music's playing. They're roughly about 30-second clips from each song, and what we'll do is play them twice. So we'll play all 5 once, then play all 5 again, and then we'll go straight into a break for a few minutes so you can get another drink or whatever you want to do. So let's get the music started. As I said, 5 questions, 5 music clips. Just all you got to do is name the film that they came from. So before we go on to the final round of the quiz, I just thought I'd show you some of the stuff that you've probably seen behind me while I've been doing this quiz. I mentioned this earlier, so we'll start here. This is a autographed hockey mask, autographed by the guy that played Jason in several of the Friday the 13th movies, Kane Hodder, and he's also put on there a message for one of the other horror movie psychopaths, Michael Myers, there. And continuing on that theme, up here we've got a Nightmare on Elm Street poster, which was not the original design for the poster. It's actually a custom design done by a chap who designs lots of sort of modern style versions of 80s movie posters. Can't remember his name or anything like that, but I got it from one of the Play Expos in Manchester a few years ago. Also got, continuing on the Freddy and Jason theme, a Freddy vs Jason set of action figures there. If you like these characters, if you're into the sort of 80s slasher movies and even horror movies beyond that, we actually did a podcast on MovieMuse a couple of years ago, a Halloween podcast, where we sort of faced all these guys off against each other and voted for an overall winner in a kind of horror movie maniac tournament thing, so you could check that out if you're interested. Bit cuter version of Jason there, that's a little plushy toy, and there's also a Tetris light set there in the background as well. So just moving on, we've got some autographed photos. Most of these are from TV shows. So we've got Twin Peaks there, that's Laura Flynn Boyle, Sherilyn Fenn and Machen Amick. Then we've got the Lone Gunman from the X-Files. They all signed that photo there, and that's a gift I bought for my wife a few years ago. We've got some more Twin Peaks there. That's also got, in addition to some of the signatures I've just mentioned, it's got the one-armed man. If you've seen Twin Peaks, you know what I'm talking about there. He signed that. We've got something from New Zealand. When we went to New Zealand, we visited Movie Horses New Zealand, and they provided a lot of the horses for the Lord of the Rings films. So that's one of those horses there with a nice background on it, and the lady that ran that, Jane Abbott, she signed that for us. Then we've got a guy from the TV show Bones, which my wife's a big fan of. He signed that. That's TJ Thine. He's king of the lab in that show. If you've watched it, you'll understand what that means. And finally, we've got two of the hobbits from Lord of the Rings. You'll have to apologise for all the reflections in the background. Can't do much about that, unfortunately. So that's Billy Boyd and Dominic Monaghan. Other stuff you might have seen behind me, some video games. This is a interactive one from Universal Studios in Florida, where you can use it to interact with lots of different objects in the Harry Potter lands over there. And what else have we got? We've got a Jack Daniels, bit of a Jack Daniels barrel from the Jack Daniels distillery in Tennessee, which we visited many years ago. That's obviously got nothing to do with movies, it just happens to be there on that unit. And then underneath all that is all my Blu-rays and DVDs. Lots of 80s movies in there, and movies from other decades as well. So whenever I want to pull out a movie I particularly like, this is where I go. So there you go, that's what's been behind me while I'm doing this quiz. Now let's get back to the quiz. Welcome back. Hopefully you're all suitably refreshed with a nice drink, and you've gone through your answers for the first 4 rounds and agreed on them all if you're playing as a group. So let's go on to the final round of the quiz. Kind of a general knowledge round. Obviously it's still all about 80s movies, but there's no obvious theme to the round, it's just various questions. So we'll start with question 1, obviously, which is, which future Hollywood megastar made his screen debut in the 1984 film A Nightmare on Elm Street? Question 1 again, which future Hollywood megastar made his film debut in A Nightmare on Elm Street? Moving on to question 2 then. In which film did Arnold Schwarzenegger first say his iconic line, "I'll be back"? I suppose you could argue this could have gone into the quotes round really, but it didn't. So once again, in which film did Arnold Schwarzenegger first say his iconic line, "I'll be back"? Okay, moving on to question 3, and this is a nice easy one, or fairly easy because it's 50-50 for the answer. So question 3, in the lightsaber duel at the end of The Empire Strikes Back, which of Luke Skywalker's hands is cut off by Darth Vader? So the answer is either left or right. So once again, at the end of The Empire Strikes Back, which of Luke Skywalker's hands is cut off by Darth Vader? I don't think you need a lot of time to think about the answer to that one, so let's move on to question 4. What Shakespearean play did the students perform in Dead Poets Society? Once again, question 4. Which Shakespearean play did the students perform in Dead Poets Society? And moving on to question 5. Which actor was originally cast as Marty McFly in Back to the Future before being replaced by Michael J. Fox? Question 5 again. Which actor was originally cast as Marty McFly in Back to the Future before being replaced by Michael J. Fox? Question 6. In E.T., what type of flower came back to life to signify that E.T. himself had come back to life? Question 6 again. In E.T., what type of flower came back to life to indicate that E.T. had come back to life? And I imagine a few of you are tearing up just thinking about those scenes, let alone watching them. So let's move on to the next question. Which 80s animated film featured voice acting from Leonard Nimoy, Eric Idle and Orson Welles? And yes, I'm as gobsmacked as you about this. But yes, there was an animated film in the 80s that featured voice acting from Leonard Nimoy, Eric Idle and Orson Welles. And all you've got to do is name it. Moving on to question 8 then. Which 1983 film featured a who's who of Hollywood heartthrobs? That's quite hard to say. Including Rob Lowe, Tom Cruise, Patrick Swayze, Matt Dillon, Ralph Macchio and Emilio Estevez. Which 1983 film featured a who's who of Hollywood heartthrobs including Rob Lowe, Tom Cruise, Patrick Swayze, Matt Dillon, Ralph Macchio and Emilio Estevez? Just 2 questions to go then. Let's move on to question 9. Should be a pretty easy one for most of you, I think. In an early scene from The Goonies, what dance does Chunk have to do to be allowed entry into the house? So once again, in the early scene in The Goonies, what's the name of the dance that Chunk has to do in order to be let into the house? And if anyone wants to upload their version of that dance, then please don't send me a link. And finally, question 10, and the final question of the quiz. Which 1982 biopic won 8 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Director and Actor? Once again, which 1982 biopic won 8 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Director and Best Actor? So thank you all for joining us for this quiz tonight. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you do enjoy it, leave us a comment just to let us know what you think. Let us know if there's any improvements we can make just in case we decide to do another one. And as I've mentioned, if you'd like to head over to the MovieMuse page and check out some of the other stuff we do, that'd be great. Give us a like on Facebook. Most importantly, stay inside, stay safe, support the NHS, wash your hands, and try not to get coronavirus.
MovieMuse 80s Quiz Part 2 Judgment Day. I need your clothes, your shoes and your answer sheets. Good evening. I thought that was a useful thing to cover up the screen while I was getting ready. So here we go, my first proper live video. Hi Simon Boggy Burton. Never done one of these before, could be a complete mess, we'll see how it goes. Firstly, thank you everyone who tuned in last night. It was a good response. We got about nearly 100 people watching and 57 of those submitting answer sheets. So that's a pretty good return for our work that we put into the quiz. And the average score for the answer sheets that were responded, the average score was 19 out of 30. So if you got 19 or more, which you'll find out soon enough, then well done. You were better than average. And if you were studying for your GCSEs, you've probably got an A. I don't know, you're getting a GCSE for nothing now, I think, don't you? Sorry if there's any kids watching. Anyway, so we'll get on straight away with the quiz question answers, although I want to mention first some of my favourite team names. So there were a few that stuck out that I thought were quite funny. The Wet Bandits, that's a reference to the movie Home Alone. Quiz Team Aguilera, I think you're supposed to say that, Quiz Teamer Aguilera, quite like that one. Generation X-Wing, Never Gonna Quiz You Up, good 80s connection there. And then there were three that were particularly topical, which were Ferris Bueller's 3 months off, Ferris Bueller's Working from Home, and my favourite one was Big Trouble in Wuhan, China, which was a good 80s movies reference and a reference to the ongoing coronavirus situation. So I hope you've all been staying in and keeping yourself entertained with things like what we've been doing in the MovieMuse quiz, lots of other quizzes online, lots of live streams from musicians and so forth, so plenty of stuff to keep you interested and keep you indoors and away from all those virus carrying other members of the public. Okay, so let's get on with the answers to the quiz, and then I'll give out the top scores and a few of the lower scores as well. So round one was the 80s movie quotes, and we started off with a nice easy one. Only one person got this wrong. I don't know which person it was, so I'm not going to name them. So round one, question one, He Slimed Me, was of course from Ghostbusters, and that was Peter Venkman, played by Bill Murray, who said the line. So question one, round one, was Ghostbusters. Question two, Say Hello to My Little Friend. Got a few interesting answers on this one. One I particularly liked was Twins, which was a good 80s movie, but not the right answer. The correct answer was Scarface, and it was Tony Montana, played by Al Pacino, that said that line. So question three was the longest one and also the most difficult one of the first round, I think, was Sorry Folks, Park's Closed, Moose Out Front Should Have Told You. And that was from National Lampoon's Vacation, where the Griswold family arrive at the Wally World theme park and find it's closed, and they've been travelling across country for 2 weeks, so they're a bit frustrated. And the guy that said that was a cameo appearance by John Candy as a security guard. I'm not sure if the character had a name, but let's just say security guard at Wally World. So moving on to question four from round one, snakes. Why did it have to be snakes? That was, of course, Indiana Jones, but specifically from Raiders of the Lost Ark. If you gave me an answer, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, or Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, or just Indiana Jones, then that was a wrong answer. I've only accepted Raiders of the Lost Ark. That had to be in your answer for you to get the question right. Most people did get it right, to be fair. So that was question four, round one, was Raiders of the Lost Ark. And question five, I'm Not Bad, I'm Just Drawn That Way, was from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. That was said by Jessica Rabbit, who was voiced by Kathleen Turner. And I've also allowed on that round, if you said Roger Rabbit, then you also got the points. And also, if you said Who Killed Roger Rabbit, which a couple of people did, that's a bit darker a film, but I also gave it for that as well. So that was round 1 completed. Most people did pretty well in that round. I think it was pretty easy, apart from maybe the third question was probably the hardest of the 5. Sorry. So we'll move on to round 2, which was the connections. This was 3 films that connected by a particular actor or actress or director. So question 1, and every single person who sent in their quiz form got this right. Which actor starred in Return of the Jedi, Blade Runner and Witness? It was, of course, Harrison Ford. And yet everybody got that right, so that was the easiest question in the whole quiz. Question 2, which actor appeared in The Lost Boys, Stand By Me and Friday the 13th, The Final Chapter? Lots of people saying Kiefer Sutherland on this one, and he did appear in The Lost Boys and Stand By Me, and that was kind of the plan with this question, was lots of people would think it would be him, but the actual answer was Corey Feldman. He was the guy in Friday the 13th, The Final Chapter, that actually killed Jason, only to then dig him up a couple of episodes later, and he was brought back to life, but that's a whole different quiz. So moving on to question 3, which actress starred in 9.5 Weeks, My Stepmother is an Alien and Batman? That was Kim Basinger. Quite a few people said Michelle Pfeiffer on that one, but no, it was Kim Basinger. I think a lot of people remember that a particular scene from My Stepmother is an Alien, which was particularly enjoyable as a teenage boy. Well, let's not get into that. So that was question 3 in round 2, was Kim Basinger. Question 4, who directed The Goonies, Lethal Weapon and Scrooged? That was Richard Donner, and plenty of people got that right. He also directed Superman, the first Superman, and quite a lot of other films in the 80s and 90s, I think. So he did all the Lethal Weapon films. So that was question 4, round 2, Richard Donner. And finally, question 5 in round 2, which comedian starred in Stir Crazy, See No Evil, Hear No Evil and Superman 3? And again, we had quite a few people saying Gene Wilder on this one, because he starred in the first 2 films that I mentioned, along with Richard Pryor, who was the right answer. He was the only one of the 2 that starred in Superman 3. So yeah, Richard Pryor was the answer to question 5 on round 2. Let's take a little drink break. Moving on to round 3 then, and that's the poster taglines. So we showed the tagline from the poster on the screen and asked you to name the movie. And the first one was question 1 was 40 Stories of Sheer Adventure. Now I did like one of the wrong answers for this, which was Never Ending Story. Obviously a different interpretation of the word stories than the poster actually meant, but I did quite like the idea that someone would think the tagline for the Never Ending Story would be 40 Stories of Sheer Adventure. That did make me laugh. The actual answer is Die Hard. The story is referring to the 40 stories in the skyscraper. So a lot of people got that right. Well done if you did. Question 2 was Take Your Passion and Make It Happen. And again, we got a mixture of answers here, all along the same lines. Some people were saying Fame and Footloose. The actual answer was Flashdance. And that is a line from the song What a Feeling, which was the theme from that movie. So question 2, round 3 was Flashdance. And moving on to question 3, the first casualty of war is innocence. Again, got some good sort of educated guesses here. People were saying things like Full Metal Jacket and Good Morning Vietnam. It was from one of the Vietnam movies from the 80s. It was Platoon from 1986, I think that was. So the first casualty of war is innocence was from Platoon. That was the answer to question 3. And let's move on to question 4. One man's struggle to take it easy. That was from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And finally, question 5. Man is the warmest place to hide. And again, there was quite a few, I think, sort of educated guesses here about what this could mean. A couple that stood out was Aliens and also Inner Space, which was a good 80s movie. Neither of those were the right answer, unfortunately. The correct answer was John Carpenter's classic The Thing, where the thing actually takes on the form of people to disguise itself. So that's the reason for that tagline. So that was the last one on round 3. Man is the warmest place to hide was from The Thing. So we'll move on to round 4, which was the movie round. And to do those in order, the first one was Axel F by Harold Faltermeyer, and that was from Beverly Hills Cop. I think nearly everyone got that one right. Second one was Danger Zone by Kenny Loggins, and that was from Top Gun. And the third one, Two Heads Are Better Than One, was by a band called Power Tool. This was the most difficult one in this round by far. Maybe only about 20 people got this right, possibly even less than that. That was from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Although there were a couple of other good suggestions for that, which were Twins again, and also The Man with Two Brains. The song, you can see, fits both of those films as well, but it was Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Question 4, this was a nice easy one. I think nearly everyone got this one right as well. I've Had the Time of My Life by Bill Medley and Jennifer Warnes was, of course, from Dirty Dancing. And finally, question 5, Don't You Forget About Me by Simple Minds. I thought this might have caught a few people out. I wasn't sure how aware people were of this one, but actually quite a lot more people got it than I thought, and it was The Breakfast Club was the teen high school movie that great song came from. So that was round 4, that was the 80s movie music round. We'll move on finally to the final round, the general knowledge round. So there was 10 questions here, which started with question 1, which future Hollywood megastar made his screen debut in 1984's A Nightmare on Elm Street? Lots of different answers for this one. The correct one was Johnny Depp. That was his first film. Those of you who've seen it, or maybe you don't remember his appearance in it, he was the guy who got sucked into the bed and then spewed out in a fountain of blood. So very memorable scene and a memorable big screen debut for Johnny Depp there. Question 2 was, in which film did Arnold Schwarzenegger first say his catchphrase, "I'll be back"? The answer to that was The Terminator, but 4 people actually said Terminator 2, which came out in 1991 and therefore wasn't going to be the answer in 80s quiz. And question 3, the lightsaber duel at the end of The Empire Strikes Back, which of Luke Skywalker's hands is cut off by Darth Vader? 50-50 answer here, was it left or right? And actually 60% of people said the right answer, which was the right hand. So moving on to, where are we? Question 4, what Shakespearean play did the students perform in Dead Poets Society? That was A Midsummer Night's Dream. Not a film I've seen actually, my wife came up with that question. Not really my kind of thing, but Midsummer Night's Dream was the Shakespearean play. That was question 4 in the final round. Question 5, which actor was originally cast as Marty McFly in the Back to the Future before being replaced by Michael J. Fox? This guy did film quite a lot of scenes before they realised he didn't really have the right sort of qualities to play the teenage Marty McFly. And the correct answer was Eric Stoltz, which I think quite a lot of people did get. I was quite surprised. I thought that was quite a tough question. The one wrong answer that did amuse me was a couple of people said Martin Sheen, who would have been an interesting choice for teenage Marty McFly at the age of 44 at that point. So no, I think they may have meant Charlie Sheen, but they actually did say Martin Sheen. So moving on to question 6. In E.T., what type of flower came back to life to indicate that the extraterrestrial was also alive? This one, we probably shouldn't have done this question really. This was the hardest question, only 8 people got it right, and we initially looked up the answer on the internet and it said it was geraniums, but then when we looked at the flowers a bit more closely, they actually look more like chrysanthemums, so we think the internet information is actually wrong. So what we've done is accept either or on there. So if you said geraniums or chrysanthemums, then you got it right. Any other flower, as far as we know, it's not one of those flowers. So yeah, we probably shouldn't have put that question in, but there you go, it's too late now. There's always one quiz question that has a dubious answer, and I think that was probably it in this case. So yeah, that was question 6, was geraniums or chrysanthemums. Question 7, which 80s animated film featured voice acting from Leonard Nimoy, Eric Idle and Orson Welles? A few interesting answers on this one. There was Watership Down was suggested, Land Before Time, Lord of the Rings. None of those are right. The actual answer is Transformers the movie, which amazingly had Orson Welles doing the voice of a giant robot planet, and that was the last thing Orson Welles actually did before he died, and the movie didn't come out until after he died, actually. So yeah, it's an interesting cast for that film. Question 8 was the movie Hollywood Heartthrobs question. Which 1983 film featured the Hollywood Heartthrobs Rob Lowe, Tom Cruise, Patrick Swayze, Matt Dillon, Ralph Macchio and Emilio Estevez? And the answer is The Outsiders. And quite a lot of people got that right. I was impressed with that number of correct answers on that one. There were quite a few people who said Young Guns as well, which did have Emilio Estevez and a load of other of those Brat Pack Hollywood heartthrobs in it. So not a bad one to choose, but unfortunately not the right answer. So moving on, last couple of questions then. Question 9, the scene from the Goonies, what's the name of the dance that Chunk has to do before they'll let him into the house? That was, of course, the Truffle Shuffle. I'm not going to do a demonstration, unfortunately. I think you're probably all glad about that. So yeah, question 9 was the Truffle Shuffle. The best wrong answer for that had to be the waltz, I think, which one person said. Quite like that. And finally, question 10. Which 1982 biopic won 8 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Director and Actor? Lots of people said Chariots of Fire, which I think did win quite a few Oscars, but not that year. The correct answer was Gandhi. So that was it. That was the quiz. There were a couple of face-offs going on during this quiz that I want to mention. Firstly, there was a MovieMuse face-off between 2 of the other guys who contribute to MovieMuse. That's Gordon and Simon. And Gordon won that face-off 19 points to 17. So well done, Gordon. Interestingly, they both thought that the one man struggle to take it easy tagline was from Falling Down. And there were another 5 people who thought that as well. Now, Falling Down is a 90s movie for one thing, and also I'm pretty sure that film's not saying it's one man struggle to take it easy. He's definitely not taking it easy in that film if you've seen it. So yeah, that was an interesting answer. We also had a family face-off between Lucy, my sister, and Sean, who are in Cape Town in South Africa. Hello if you're watching. And my mum and dad, who are elsewhere in the UK. They faced off against each other, and Lucy and Sean won that with 19 points. My mum and dad, they got 12 points, so not one of the better scores, but thank you for taking part. One thing I wasn't happy about though, Lucy, was that your answer for the snakes, why does it have to be snakes quote, The Empire Strikes Back, really? You're barely my sister anymore. Okay, so sorry for the indulgence there. We'll move on to the results now. So firstly, I'm going to talk about the people I'm calling the slackers. Slackers, you got 12 points or less. You're going to have to see me for detention on Saturday morning. So the slackers, the team names were All By Myself, Back to the 80s, Bueller, PG, which was my mum and dad's team. I think that's referring to parental guidance or parental guardian. Which one was it, PG? I'm not sure. And finally, Team Johnson, you all got 12 points or less. Slackers. So let's get into our final 3 then, our top 3, counting down to the winner. These are our top guns. And you guys can be my wingmen or wingwomen anytime. So in 3rd place with 27 out of 30. These are amazing scores, by the way. I'm really impressed. 3rd place was E equals MC Hammer. That was Michael, Karen and Dougie. Well done, you came 3rd. 2nd place was 28 out of 30. The Nublins. That was Rachel, John, Victoria and Bob. So close to the winning score. So well done to you for 2nd place. So in 1st place with 29 out of 30, and I hope you weren't using any performance enhancing internet movie databases or Wikipedias. I'm sure you weren't. The winners are the Lost Goons, Kim and Ant. And that's Kim Ward, who I think I've seen on the live watching here. So well done, Kim. You won with 29 out of 30. I think the only one you got wrong was the very last question, which was Gandhi. So thanks for watching again. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for taking part in the quiz. And we are going to, I think, do some more quizzes on the MovieMuse page. So if you click a like on the MovieMuse page if you haven't already, then you'll keep track of anything else we're doing. We're doing the usual Freeview movies every week and other posts as well. So there's always something for you to look at on the page. You can also go to our website. We've got about 15 or 20 podcasts that we've done over the last few years. We haven't done any recently, but if you look at the podcast link on the MovieMuse website, which is moviemuse.net, then you can see the podcast we've done. There's lots of stuff about 80s films, action movies, Star Wars, James Bond, superhero movies, all kinds of good stuff. So you should find something interesting in there. Not much about romantic comedies, but sorry, we are all boys after all. So once again, thanks for taking part. And as I've said it before, I'll say it again. Stay safe, stay indoors, keep away from those nasty virus-ridden zombies. If you've got the coronavirus, good luck to you. Get well soon. If you haven't got the coronavirus, don't go out there and get it. And maybe we'll see you soon for another quiz. And once again, thanks for watching.